bookworms, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kayla and I'm here to serve you some literary goodness on whatever day this comes out. So I'm actually pre-filming this, like pre-filming this review because this book doesn't come out for a very long time, but I want to review it while it's still fresh in my mind and make sure I'm giving you guys some like good ass information and not just creating a video based on a memory from like months before. So I'm really excited to be here and bringing you this review. I also just realized while I was coming up here to film, I'm in like a little nook corner of my house. I got a bookshelf up here at the top of my stairs. It's kind of cute. But I realized when I was on my way up here that I don't actually have the physical copy of the ARC anymore. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Kayla from the future. As an editing note, coming in to say, hey, I filmed this video so long ago. My hair was literally so long. I'm like, this is all I have for a ponytail right now. But I am editing my review for Curse So Dark and Lonely, which comes out very soon. Right now it is Sunday, and it comes out this coming Tuesday, and I'm so excited. It's a staff rec I have at the store. And I mentioned in the video that I am currently editing that I did not have my ARC copy because I brought it back to the bookstore for other people to read. And that is true, I don't have the ARC copy, but I wanted to show you guys what the finished copy looks like. So this is the finished copy of A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. It is such an amazing book. This cover is beautiful. If you live in the UK cover is even prettier. I believe it's like white and like this is holographic and it's just beautiful. But really, it's such a beautiful book. It'll look so pretty on your shelves with all your other Beauty and the Beast retellings, and you also get a really awesome story. So make sure to pick up A Curse So Dark and Lonely this week when it comes out. And that's how you know that this is going to be a good review, because I loved it so much that I wanted to share it with other people. That's when you know. So today I'm going to be talking about a book that is coming out. It's a YA fantasy release that comes out, and I believe it's January or February of 2019. So hopefully when you see this, it is somewhere around that time, because right now it is September. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking about A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. It's a YA fantasy release that is super highly anticipated. And I have so many thoughts on how much I love this book, but a couple of things about the YA industry that I want to say as well. So I'm just going to give you a summary of what happened with the plot and what A Curse So Dark and Lonely is about. So it is a YA fantasy. How many times can I say that this is a YA fantasy, first of all? It is a YA fantasy fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast, combined in like a fairy world, which is really cool. So before I get into this, I just want to make a disclaimer. I've been reading so many fairy tale retellings, like it's so entrenched in the YA genre lately. Like it is, I feel like, a fantasy trend in YA. I really enjoy retellings, but I just like, it's something that I love so much, and I enjoy fantasy fairy tale retellings so much that like I'm starting to hate how saturated the YA genre is with them. I feel like anytime I look at like 2019, 2020 releases, it's like I've already seen like 5 fairy tale retellings, and honestly it's the same story just told in like 85 different ways. But we shouldn't ruin a good thing, because there can be too much of a good thing, and I think YA is a little bit starting to get to that point where it's just too much of a good concept, and I'm getting a little bit bored of it. So I'm excited for YA to evolve and develop and to have some new stories, some new storylines, so we get away from just fairy tale retellings. But that does not detract from how much I loved A Curse So Dark and Lonely. So basically, Harper is a girl with cerebral palsy living in Washington, D.C., and she is helping her brother, who's kind of in a bad, tight situation with some not so great characters, just to kind of make ends meet. Her mother has cancer, so they're trying to like really help her mom and stuff, and that's how they kind of make ends meet. And she witnesses somebody getting kidnapped, a girl getting kidnapped by a guy, and when she steps in to save the day and to save that girl, she ends up getting whisked away to this enchanted world of Emberfall with Prince Ren. And when she gets to Emberfall, and I think the castle is Iron Rose. Yeah. Wait. Am I getting this right? Yeah, the land is Emberfall. The castle estate manor is Iron Rose. And when she gets there, she discovers that the Prince Ren has been cursed. And they're forced to repeat autumn over and over again until he can get somebody to fall in love with him. But what I really liked was that I liked so many things about this book. I'm a sucker for Beauty. Like, Beauty and the Beast is my story. It is my favorite Disney movie. It's my favorite fairy tale. Something about it I just really, really enjoy. And I love... It's very much... I really very much enjoy, like, fairy and fae stories. I love kingdom and castles and, like, pseudo-medieval time periods. And autumn is one of my favorite seasons. So this book was pretty much my heart and soul in a book. And I also love the name Ren. Like, that is one of my favorite names. So basically, long story short, I was just in love with this entire concept of this book. But I really liked Harper. She had a very, I think, sound concept of right and wrong, and her character was really well developed and really fleshed out. She wouldn't, like, say one thing and do the exact opposite, which we sometimes see in books, is like, oh, well, I'm all high and mighty and I want things to be righteous and just, but I'm gonna go murder someone. Now that I say that, Harper did kill somebody, but it was for a good reason. It was in self-defense. But no, she's, like, very committed to doing the right thing. Like, she's been in the hard place. She doesn't also just give Ren a break and be like, well, okay, you need somebody to break the curse, so I'll just fall in love with you. And in fact, this is a bit of a spoiler, but in the end, she's not even sure that she's really in love with him, but she, like, loves his people and wants to save him. But Ren also has, he's not, how do I say it? Sometimes in Beauty and the Beast retellings, the guy gets cursed and he's like, well, I don't deserve this. My life is so hard. And Ren acknowledges that he deserves it and that he feels guilty for all the wrongs that he's done and is consciously trying to make an effort, but he doesn't want to hurt any more people in the process. And he really just wants the best for his people, which I think is really important. Back to Harper, she's just a very badass character. She has cerebral palsy and it's very difficult to deal with, but she doesn't let it hold her back from anything. She's witty and she's fun, and she really struggles with this internal dilemma between, does she help Ren and these people that she doesn't even know, or does she go back and does she help her family that's already kind of, like, fading and failing on its own, and, like, where should her loyalties lie, and should she do the thing that is the greater good or help the people that raised her, you know? So she deals with that dilemma really, really gracefully, and it's a very slow burn romance between the two, if you can even call it that. Like, they're not even that, like, there's, like, I think one or two distinctly romantic scenes, but she's very, like, kind-hearted, and she's very, very nice and sweet, and I don't think I could be for somebody that's kidnapped me. But she makes him no promises, but she is willing to put in an effort to try in order to save these people and to save Ren. And she is unfailingly nice and kind, and she always does the right thing and tries to help people, which I think is super important. And she's just overall an amazing character. I had fears at the beginning that she had cerebral palsy just to have, like, inclusion and diversity and representation, which are all wonderful things and should definitely be in books. But I've noticed that sometimes they're representational simply to be representational and not for anything further than that. And that can be a bit of a cop-out for me, just to have representation, just to say that your book has representation. But I think Kemmerer used it really well, because cerebral palsy is a physically, visibly debilitating disease, or condition rather, but it doesn't stop Harper, and she does things in spite of that, and it encourages her to move past that, and she's very upfront about that. And she notes, she thinks everybody is noticing it, but like in Ember Falls, cerebral palsy doesn't exist, and so she thinks that everybody is judging her and like that thinks that she's a weakling, and they're just like, we wouldn't have known any different, you know. So I really, really enjoyed Harper thoroughly as a character, and she thought through every single situation that she encountered and made the best solution for it. There got to a point where she could either help Ren and save Emberfall, or she could help her family, and she found a way to do both. Minor spoiler alert, but like it's more complicated than that, and you'll read on. But it's very, very good. I also like books that don't just have like cop-out solutions to the major plot issues and problems. Like they had to actually think through a situation and come up with like a plot, like the entire plot of the novel, to get out of it, and to kind of make the situation better, which is super important. I've read books, namely Zenith, that's the closest in recent memory where if there's ever a problem or a conflict, that the solution was just kind of handed to the characters. And this one wasn't. They kind of cleverly came up with a way around all of their obstacles and their issues, which I think was stupendously done, and I was very, very pleased to read it, and I wanted to know whether or not their strategizing would work. I think it actually might not be a Fae land. I think they're actually just human now that I'm thinking about it. But I loved the fantasy elements. I thought the world was so well fleshed, and it felt like I love a pseudo-medieval story, and I think this was one of the favorites that I've read. It just felt so real and so like tangible, and I just fell in love with Emberfall and Iron Rose, and I wanted to be there so badly. But Ren I thought was a really wonderful character as well. I a little bit hated him at first because he's, you know, done this I think like 327 times. He's gone through the season of autumn, and he's just tired at this point, and he's kind of like losing hope, so he's a little bit jaded and a little bit cold and cut off, which I completely understand. But he overcomes that over time, which is really awesome, and he kind of becomes a really developed character, and he is flawed. He's deeply flawed. He's murdered a bunch of people because he turns into a creature at the end of every season, but he doesn't try and brush that aside. He comes to terms with it, and he admits it, and he's really, really open and honest about what's happened. He also acknowledges that the curse was his fault. He also just wasn't cursed for no reason. He was cursed because I forget how they phrase it, but basically there's this courtesan who tries to like sneak into his bed at night, and he kind of plays along like they're going to be something more than just a one-night stand, and she's like, what now? And curses the whole land, which would be me if I was a courtesan trying to sneak into somebody's bed, honestly. But he admits that he like did her wrong, and he deserves a curse, and he also doesn't try. He's a great blend of like not trying to be the hero, like letting a great blend of not trying to be the hero / feels guilty, doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and still wanting to take action and rectify his mistakes. So he's a good blend of hopeless and hopeful, which I think is interesting. I think the pacing of the novel was really well done. You know, it feels like everything takes place in about 2 weeks, but it's really, I think, about like 3 months. But everything is paced super well. It's not rushed. It doesn't drag out too long. It's really, really, for me, exquisite. I really enjoyed this book. And I think the characters came out really full-fleshed and really well developed, and they evolve over the course. I think both Ren, Lucian, I think that's not his name, Ren, Gray, and Harper kind of evolve really well into really solid characters over time, and we kind of grow with them, which I think is important and one of my favorite things to watch happen. And I also liked that it wasn't insta love. it's not a trope that bothers me, but I really liked that they took time to get to know each other. And at first Ren was like, she's impossible, I can't deal with her. And then Gray is like, you just need to try and like take time and put effort into it. And he actually had to physically put in effort into growing their relationship, and that I think made it stronger, which I think is something that a lot of this generation also needs to learn, is that you gotta put effort into these things. So I really enjoyed it. Their romance was, yeah, a slow burn, but I didn't think it was too slow. I don't think it dragged on. And I liked that in a fairy tale, which are so romance and love centric, that this one, love and falling in love, was not really the point. The point was something bigger than that, and I think that's really, really important and awesome, and I liked seeing that. But yeah, I'm trying to think. So the romance was good. I think the key moments of romance were really, really well done, and I think I liked watching their romance and their relationship evolve over time and develop. And I liked the way it ended, where we didn't really know, were they actually in love? Like, I'm not gonna say what happened, but yeah, you're kind of left wondering, like, well, are they really in love, or is this like the bud of something to come, which I think is really important. So yeah, it is also can be read as a standalone, but there is going to be a sequel, which I'm very, very excited for. It was kind of a long book. It was about 500 and something pages, but it was so spectacularly well done, and I was so in love with this book. And I said it at the beginning of this video, but I knew I loved it because I gave the arc to someone else. Like, usually if I like a book, I kind of keep the arc to myself because I want it in my collection, but I will fully be buying a finished copy of this book because I enjoyed it so much. And I was just super in love with this book, and I wanted to share it with my other bookseller friends and let them enjoy the magic that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And I think it was a beautiful, beautiful book, and that I think a lot of you will enjoy it, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. I wrote in one of my reviews, either on Edelweiss or on Goodreads, that I was sorry that the rest of the world had to wait to read it, because it really was enchanting and magical and beautiful and wonderful, and I can't say enough good things about it. So I'm really excited for you guys to read it, and I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and you can tell me if you loved it, if you've read it, if you're excited for it. So you can leave all of those answers to those questions down in the comments below. But I hope you enjoyed this review and you found it helpful. I think that this is going to be one of the all-star YA of 2019. Like, I'm making my predictions now that this is one of the best books of 2019. So, and it's still September 2018. So that says a lot. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and found it helpful. And like I said, answer all of those questions if you're going to read it, if you're excited about it, if you've been waiting for it, what you think of it. Are you reading it? All of the above. Let me know in the comments down below. That's all I have to say really about this book.
Hey bookworms, so this is another editing note. I'm sorry, I just woke up and I'm getting ready for school. But I wanted to put in that I am also now a rep with a local Etsy shop who makes book sleeves, which is really cool. So I'm a rep with Belle's Book Sleeves. She makes awesome book sleeves. I have another one on the way. I can't wait to show you guys that one, but they're super good. They're super cute. They're all book themed. She has like fur ones that are like Fleetfoot from Throne of Glass. So definitely check out her website. You can use my code ROY12 for I think 12% off at checkout. So the bookcase is about $13 and then a couple dollars for shipping depending on where you live. So definitely go check that out. I'll have her shop linked down below and her Instagram as well. So go give her some love, and if you decide you want one of her cases, use my code ROY12 at checkout.
So yeah, that is it for this review, but I will see you guys soon for another one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to come back with some more for you. But for now, be sure to go follow me on my social medias. Go find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Pinterest, Goodreads, and I feel like I got another one recently, but I don't really remember. And let me know what you think. Go be my friend on the interwebs, and I will see you guys soon for another one.